My channel has always been built up around being honest and around sharing my practice, my beliefs with you guys. And from day one, my channel has been about debunking and dispelling fear and misinformation. But that comes with pitfalls. I have never ever professed to know everything, and I never will. I approach witchcraft, occultism, spirituality as balanced as I possibly can. Because we are filled in a world full of egotistical, sociopathic people. Meaning people who want to be cult leaders. Come on, you've heard of loads of them. There's controversies all the time on YouTube in the spiritual zeitgeist about this YouTuber, that YouTuber. I mean, I went down the Teal Swan rabbit hole. There was Escaping Twin Flames. And then in occultism, you've got the likes of E.A. Cuetin and Becoming a Living God and all that movement. There's always people who want to be the best. Freaking Pokemon master or something. I want to be the very best like no one ever was. And it is, whether it is egotistical or borderline sociopathic, I don't know. Those are just some names off the top of my head, and this is not to get at them. But what I am saying is the world is filled up with movements and people like this. And so I've always came at it from an angle of I'm never ever going to be like that, and I never will. So I'll share everything that I know, warts and all. I'll share my experience and be out in the open and vulnerable. Why? To help people. That's why. It is not to say that I'm better than anyone. It's not to say that my answer is the only right answer. It is to help people. And over the time of being on YouTube, I've gotten in some scuffles, some public and some not. And this time last year, literally, it was the time I took the plunge and went full time with this. Touch wood, we're going okay. I'm not doing this for money, but I need money to live, So it is a necessary evil sometimes. But I'm not coming at it from that point of view as a get rich quick thing. This is my life. This is my spiritual belief. And this is me, warts and all. I share as much as I can with you, but I don't share every single little thing, and this is going to be a prime example why. Because there will always be people who want to tear you down, and I am sharing this now to give you an example, to air the dirty laundry, so to speak, and to put somebody back in their place. Because frankly, there are many people, especially on the left-hand path, who are very insecure. And the only way that they can feel better about themselves is to project upon others and is to tear others down. Now, on the channel, I've been sharing that I've been going through something called the Clifoth. And I have also shared in a video or two why I didn't want to do that. This is an example why. So if you've listened so far, thank you. Let's get into it. Now, I'll just quickly say, before we get into this, despite the topic and despite the subject matter in this video, I'm Sarah, that divination witch, and the channel is a safe space, okay? So, you can share opinions, you can ask questions, and we don't always have to agree. But what we don't tolerate here is crap and bullying behaviour at anyone, including me, including you. Not tolerated, okay? If you like to be in a safe space, hit subscribe. And if you want to support me or the channel, all of the links are below. I do readings and I've got all sorts going on. That's all I'll say there. It's all below if you're interested, okay? I had half the mind to just show this person's username because frankly, they're on a shell account, which always happens, an anonymous fake account. Because that's a cowardly move, okay? But if I ever get critique or a nasty comment, it's generally speaking from an account where somebody's hiding. But let's have a look at these comments this person left. I haven't dignified them with a response in the comments. Why? Because I know better. Because I protect my energy. And that's something Lilith has taught me very well. But I am responding to you now, and I am showing the world the pitfalls of being a left-hand path practitioner, you could say, in the occult, interested in the Clifoth, doing these things. This is the crap you always get. So before I ventured into the Clifoth, and I will be sharing my journey, because I'm not going to let anyone take my power from me. Absolutely not. And before I went into it, I actually initiated into Malkuth. And I thought I was going to be doing the Sephiroth, which is the tree of life. And it was Lilith, who was one of my patronesses, who basically brought me onto the Clifoth from Gamaliel onward, aka Yesod, aka the second sphere, the moon, okay, which Lilith does rule over. So, since then, I've been going through the Clifoth, and I am currently in a sphere at time of recording. This one here, Gagiel. I can never pronounce these things. Now, I have shared on the channel before. I have used a couple of books to help me. This one is amazing. Thomas Carlson, he knows his stuff. Thomas Carlson's been an occultist for many years, longer than I've been alive, which, by the way, I am 35 years old, which we'll get into in these comments when I do put them on the screen, when I do talk about it. You know, I am not a child. I'm a grown woman. But Thomas Carlson knows his stuff, and he isn't egocentric like these people, okay? He isn't a scammer. He is genuine. He has an order called the Dragon Rouge. I'm not affiliated with them, I know. Nobody is part of that, you know, but I am drawn to this guy. I like him because he isn't an a-hole and egotistical. He is genuine in his approach. So the Dragon Rouge was founded in 1989, which is my birth year. So, you know, goes to show he's been doing this a long time. And then this other book I've been using to help me, Oliver St. John, another guy I am drawn to, who was in the succession from Crowley, and he knows his stuff as well. He's been doing this many years. He is no nonsense. This book tells you all about the tree of life and the tree of death. Doesn't mince words, is what it is, okay? Those are the books I recommend, because there are many books out there on the subject on both sides that are basically egotistical and full of crap. Okay, so that's what I recommend. So yes, before going into the Clifoth, I didn't even want to do it. Lilith got me to do it, right? And why was that? Because the tree of life, I've explained this on videos, but the tree of life is about growth and expansion. It's about life and creation. The tree of death is death, energy, Clifoth, removal, clearing away things that don't serve you, stepping into your true and authentic self. And if you think of it in a perspective of a tarot card, which all these things are linked to as well, I've made videos explaining things more in depth, but death as a card, as an archetype, is not just about dying. It is about clearing. It is about rebirth, okay? So for me, I've done it this way, subconsciously, by the way, and I will be sharing my journey, as I've said. But it's all fell into place in this way because you need to clear away the energy to then be reborn and get the new things, you know, like that. So let's get into these comments, right? Before I do, actually, one more thing I wanted to mention as well. The Clifoth is a relatively new term. So I've explained this in videos, but I want to explain it again before we get into this crap. So Oliver St. John is good at explaining this too. Kabbalah comes from Jewish mysticism. Even that in itself is relatively new in the grand scheme of things. It was around the 1500s, some Jewish mystics established Kabbalah. And if you are looking that up, it's Kabbalah spelt with a K normally, okay? That's to distinguish the difference, all right? And the tree of life, it was said to be ruled over by angels and each sphere is planetary energy. Okay, it's planetary magic, psychology, alchemy. Okay, so 1500s, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that long ago. Now, the Tree of Death was always a thing. It was always known as the Shadow. It's known as the Citra Ara. And yeah, because everything has a shadow. We all have a shadow. It was Crowley that really started to dig into that. And he established a hierarchy for the Clifoth and a name for it. And he was the one who kind of put the Cleavers in order of demons and things like this. And he famously crossed Da'ath, which is the abyss, and met Choronzon, who some people say, I mean, there's loads of theories on it. Some people say he went mad. Some people say he got possessed. Some people say Choronzon was his dark side. Some people say he never crossed the abyss. All this jazz. Theories upon it. But he was really the forerunner on this stuff. And then his succeeders, let's say, Kenneth Grant, an enigma of a man. He created the tunnels of Set. He created many things. He had theories on many things. The Typhonian order is his occult order. And the tunnels of Set are the paths. So on the Tree of Life, we have them as paths. On the Tree of Death, they are known as tunnels of Set. And he established different demons that ruled over said tunnels, what the energies were, all this stuff. It's complex. Go read The Night Side of Eden by Kenneth Grant. He was the first one who established all of this. And from there, you can imagine, like anything in life, there are many different takes on this. And some are very egotistical, like I've already explained. And there are people out there, especially on the left-hand side, who are into demonology and things like this. Because there's many ways of linking this with so many systems, because ultimately the Tree of Life and Death, the Kabbalah, it is the fabric of the universe. It is a map of the universe, okay? I've explained this in other videos. But I wanted to point this out because it's relatively new, the Clifoth. This is not an ancient teaching, and it is man-made, right? It doesn't mean it's not real, but it's man-made. It came from men in the 1500s originally. And now with Hermeticism, they brought on Kabbalah, I forgot to say that, with a Q. And then Crowley into the dark side, let's say, blah-de-da, on we go. Right. A lot of people don't even know these things. Hence I'm saying it, and I'm giving you background context because I'm not a fool. I've gone into this with research. I researched this for many years, okay, before going into it. I knew about it for many years, maybe not as in depth, maybe not with the same understanding, but I knew. Now, I haven't shared my journey so far, which I keep saying I will do it, and I will, because of stuff like this, because you will always get someone wanting to bring you down, but especially I've noticed with people who work with demons. Can I be frank? A lot of people go to the dark side, not everyone, the dark side, but you know, the left-hand path, because they have been disempowered in their life. Not everyone, okay, I'm not tarring everyone with this brush, and this is a judgment on my part, but it's an observation and judgment that I'm making based upon things like this. People go into demonology in the left-hand path because they feel powerless, and so they are given an allure of power. You know, I'm speaking of it from, you know, selling your soul, Solomonic magic, dark-sided stuff. I mean, there's some orders out there classed as Satanism that are very problematic, very, very dark, to be honest. They do hurt people and animals, and, you know, that's not everyone, no. But there are people out there who are drawn to that type of thing because they're hopeless, because they've had life has knocked them down, and so instead of coping with it in a different way as to self-empowerment and like working on yourself through your traumas and your issues and becoming a well-rounded person that way. They kind of go into it for, I guess it's a bit of a quick fix in a way. It's like, well, you know, if I sell my soul, if I do this ritual, that ritual, the other ritual, then I'm going to be a living God or whatever, you know. That's the tragedy. That's how I know about the whole Become a Living God movement. I'm just going to say it as it is. If you look up E.A. Quetting, there's people who have spoke about him. He had his whole YouTube deleted because of a tragedy where a kid in London followed rituals from his book and unalived 2 girls. This is what I mean, it's dangerous, some of this stuff, but the kid in London's coming at it from, I've got nothing, I'm powerless, you know, probably very traumatised, probably has a lot of issues. It's like bullies in general, you know, someone who wants to pick on someone else to disempower them to gain power for themselves, all right? So this is just my rambly example at the front, okay? Let's finally get into these comments that I want to air. Right, this person. 2 years ago, you considered Hecate the goddess of witchy stuff, and no, you claim, to have crossed death. Child, Lilith is not pleased with you because you are projecting, and the worst is you believe your own BS. First and foremost, your grammar sucks. Learn to type and learn to spell. If you're going to insult someone, at least be articulate with the insult instead of illiterate with the insult. But first and foremost, you can have your opinion. Fair enough. Think what you want. You don't know me. I don't know you. And you're hiding behind a faceless account. And I don't really want to know you either. My journey is mine. You have no authority over it. You do not get to say that Lilith approves or disapproves. You do not know my connection with the Dark Mother. And you dare speak for her in that way? Woe betide you. You've got bigger balls than me, love. You call me a child? Who are you? How old are you? You know, anonymous person. I am sensing male energy. No offence to any males listening to this, but it is a common theme. I've noticed that as well. The male wants to rule over the dark goddesses like this, you know, speak for the dark goddesses in this regard. Like some sort of self-important authority figure, which you are not. You are nobody. Say it to my face properly. Make a video. Air your face on the internet. Be as vulnerable as I am. Dare you. That's power. Dear, you don't know what you're talking about, essentially. Yes, I've shared on the channel. My understanding of Hecate has changed over the years. My spiritual awakening with Hecate was in 2018. I have shared this on the channel. I have been open and honest and vulnerable with people. And why? To help them. Because of people like you. Because people are afraid to step into this world. To step into working with a dark goddess or on the Clifoth or with demons, etc. Because of people like you and your ilk. Lilith doesn't stand for gatekeepers. Lilith doesn't stand for people who think they know her speaking in such a manner. Now they left another comment. And it got stuck in the filter and it's still there. I've just left it. Lilith is Nephthys. Adam is Set. You're welcome. You are still under the illusions of Gamaliel. You haven't crossed death, child. Again, with the child. You grazed Thagarion. Otherwise, you would have met the twins of God. The women I mentioned above, the plus and the minus that create everything. Ask your mother about me. No, I'm not going to ask her about you because you're nobody. And if my mother, Hecate, Lilith, whoever, had a problem with me, I'm sure I would know about it right now. I'm sure I wouldn't be sitting here on the internet making this video. So, I'm getting up Thomas Carlson's map of the Clifoth. Bear with me. Gamaliel is the second sphere, which I've already said is the moon. Okay, that's Lilith's realm. A lot of succubi are in there. Okay. Where I've just pointed to there is Darth, the abyss. With the map, the bottom bit is the microcosm. I've explained this on the channel before. It is the inner planets, the inner workings of the psyche. You go through this to become a stronger person. You go through your traumas, deep-seated issues, scary, scary stuff. Your own personal hell. I've done it, babes. I haven't shared my journey yet. And like I've said about 20 times, I will. But that's what you go through. Now, when the time is ready, the abyss, the hidden sphere, that opens up for you. That's where Crowley famously met Charonzon. Top 3 spheres, they are the macrocosm, the outer planets of the solar system. They are the higher consciousness, because in the abyss you are stripped of everything. Everything you ever thought you knew about yourself, your false ego, because let's be honest, we all have an ego as humans because we need it to survive, okay? It's part of the psyche. Carl Jung explains it very, very well. That's where shadow work comes from. But the ego can be built up of falsehoods depending on our traumas and issues. False ideas about the self and about others. So the abyss strips it all away. And I've gone through hell and back, literally. I was in Satariel, the third sphere, represented by energy of the feminine. It is where they say Lilith's original throne is. It is where Babylon resides. It is the divine feminine. I have recently, and in no part thanks to you actually, moved to Gagiel. Gagiel, the hinderers, otherwise known as the disruptors as well. Let me just point out to you the top sphere, the twin gods. If you cross the abyss, you don't go straight there, you fool. You're not ready. You don't know what you're talking about, first and foremost. You still have a ways to go. If you cross the abyss and go straight there, no, you've done it wrong. That's not how it happens. I am not being a gatekeeper. The Clifoth, the Sephiroth, you can do the path working however you see fit. I've had people comment saying they've gone from the top down. I've had people say they've gone back, forth, here, there, everywhere. Even for me, I went to Arab Zarak before I went to Goldchap. And that's... No, sorry. Got Arab Zarak before Samael. The Geryon is the middle one. Oh, sorry. I'm getting overwhelmed. I didn't do it in order is what I'm trying to say in that regard, right? But despite that, when you cross the abyss, you don't go straight to the top. You've still got lessons. Regardless of the order, you've still got to go through some stuff first. I haven't completed it, no. You have actually helped me. You've put me in the disruptors. Because this time last year, I've said on the channel, I said in this video, was when I went full time with this. And touch wood, yeah, it's going great. But this time last year, behind the scenes, I had some scary people coming after me, let's say. I'll just put it like that. And back then, I was not as strong as I am now. But I'm strong enough to stand up to you. Who do you think you are? You're a bully. And you're a very insecure man. And I think you need to have a look at your own journey if you've even done any of this. Are you not trapped in a sphere? Are you not shelled in the Clifoth? Or whatever these edgelords like to say? You're nobody. The audacity. Anyways, I wanted to air this because, and let's finish the video. Regardless of your path, left hand, right hand, whatever, Clifoth, Sephiroth, whatever, if you are so vulnerable and brave as to share it, like some people are online, and help other people, you will always be criticised in some regard. And there will always be somebody who wants to tear you down. Let them. Let them. You don't need to entertain it. I am entertaining it now to air the dirty laundry, so to speak, and to give this as an example. Because I get this crap. I've had it before, to be honest. A lot, you can imagine. Let them. Ultimately, the path of the Clifoth is chaos. It is the left hand. Nobody knows truly everything. And nobody knows the real reality of these things. You know, you can profess to do so, but you don't. I have my beliefs and theories on everything, but it doesn't mean I truly know everything. And I never will, because we're humans. And humans aren't meant to know. Anyways, I hope this came across well. I hope it's helped some people out there. Do not be afraid to do what is right for you. Do not be afraid to share your journey if you need to or want to or feel compelled to do so. Don't let, as they say, don't let the bastards get you down. Don't. This is, I really feel, a lesson for me. Because at the end of the day, it is the disruptors, it is the disputers or whatever. This is the energy I'm in. So to be a strong person in your beliefs, you have to put up with stuff. And this could be in any regard, you know. There's a lot of people who watch me that are ex-Christians and come from trauma and things like this. And you're going to get people praying for you and all this crap as well. Just let them, whatever. Just whatever. You don't know me and you don't know what you're talking about. And ultimately, I will share my journey, what I share and what I feel comfortable sharing. And like I've said, it's always been about helping people, being vulnerable, all that jazz, okay? But at the end of the day, you still don't know me. You know me from what I've shared, but you don't know everything about me. And you don't know, especially at the moment, what I've been through and what I'm still going through. So don't cast judgment if you don't know, because you just look like a fool with egg on your face a bit. You're showing yourself up. And, well, if you do have communion with Lilith, she's done that for a reason. She's got you to get your heckles up and your ego up for a reason to get me to stand up for myself and make this video and in turn help people. So thank you for that. Now, kindly go forth and multiply. All right? And until next time, to everyone else, stay safe, stay witchy. Bye.